Hello, my name is Heather Davis, and this is my Padlet video. I think regarding AI, some of the positive effects that it can have with education is the ability to create lesson plans more quickly or efficiently. I think another impact that it can have is that it can generate questions at different learning levels, specifically within the Bloom's taxonomy. Um, and it can also adjust the difficulty reading of passages. And I've even heard that it can translate assignments or small texts, but I think it would be beneficial to just double check that if you could, because AI can be wrong. But I think just now talking about the negative aspects, I think one negative impact it can have is our education system can potentially over rely on it. And I think this could lead to people losing their jobs, as we know school districts are already underfunded, um, whether that be because they are a smaller school or the school's priorities are not in the right places, such as a heavy emphasis on their sports teams. Now for question 2, I think the biggest opportunities for AI in education has to do with its ability to explain concepts in a way that makes sense to an individual student. I'm pretty sure you can ask it to simplify an explanation or even change or even change the scope of a question being asked to make it easier for the student to understand. I think AI can also maybe help grade papers and identify certain areas where that student has strengths or their weaknesses, and then within that it can give the teacher suggestions on what to do and what specifically to do. As we know as teachers, we should already know that information, but I feel like AI could just make it more efficient in that area. Question 3, I think for my future teaching practices, I want to use AI to help me create lesson plans, or even one-on-one instruction suggestions for a specific student. I do know I want to plan on using it to simplify instructions or just to simplify instructions to help make sure the student understands what is expected of them. My reasoning for this is because it can help me save time. As being a special education teacher, it involves lots of tasks, whether you are going to IEP meetings, going to ARD meetings, implementing one-on-one instruction, and these responsibilities obviously differ on whatever school district you work in, but it is a known fact that sped teachers have a lot on their plate, and honestly not a lot of time to do said workload without having to go out of their contract hours. I think some of my takeaways from this class includes the strategies from the Teaching Learning Champion textbooks, specifically with the implementing wait time for either verbal responses or even written expression responses. Another takeaway includes the importance of making sure all of my students have access to the content that's being taught, whether they are an ELL student or an English language learner student, gifted learner, or a student with an IEP. With a student with an IEP, I feel like it can be a bit more complex because there are a range of disabilities that they may have, whether they need accommodations or modifications, and it's very important to ensure that these students are getting their free and appropriate education. But this includes like letting them demonstrate their knowledge in different ways, as well as using their needed accommodations and modifications. All right, lastly, for the 5th question, one concern I do have about becoming a teacher, specifically a special education teacher, is how to effectively balance work and life in order to avoid burnout. I know burnout is very, very, very common in teachers, especially with all the workload that they have to endure, especially for how little they get paid. I understand it's about the students are the why you do it, but we are humans and we do deserve a livable wage for the amount of work that we do. Obviously, it depends on whatever district you live in. There are some districts that are great with pay, and then others where they're a little bit less, because this can be due to lack of funding, especially in Title I schools, which usually have smaller populations. But special education teachers are often expected to work out of their contract hours, and this is not specific to just special education teachers, but especially if you want I think it's challenging to be an effective teacher without taking work home. And I am just unsure how to navigate this long term to really to prevent that I don't get burned out. Thank you.